Hi, I'm Anita Hendrickson, licensed professional counselor. Today I'm going to talk about raising healthy children in an unhealthy world. And I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to raise your children in a healthy environment. First of all, the needs need to be met. Clothing, food, shelter, rest, and love. A child has to have proper food to eat and nutrition. Their shelter needs, they need a place to sleep in a home, and they need their time to sleep, because if they don't get enough time to sleep, it will affect their learning and it will affect their moods as well. And they don't just need junk food, they need healthy food. They need vitamins coming into their body, and they need protein, and they need a healthy menu of foods to eat. Also, along with that, make sure your child is getting loved, attention, and nurturing. You know, today it seems like people are wanting to give their kids so much, a phone, a computer, but you know what really kids need is love and attention. Giving that kid, I love you, saying it multiple times a day, giving them hugs, giving them a kiss on the cheek, and praise. Giving those children praise is so important because their little self-esteems are being developed. And you want to be the one that showers them with praise, not criticism, but praise. The second rule is consistency. It is so important to be consistent with your children in every which way, with their eating habits, with their time schedule. There's a time to get up for school, there's a time to eat breakfast, there's a time to go to school, come home, let them play and let them have a little downtime, then let them do their homework, let them eat, shower, just a little. It doesn't have to be a rigid minute, but it needs to be consistency. Consistency in I love you, consistency in praise, consistency in everything you do with a child brings a feeling of safety for children. Children need to feel safe. And if they don't feel safe, it will create anxiety and stress, and then they'll have issues at school with their studies, maybe with their peers, and they'll become angry. And consistency. Be very, very consistent in their life. Be stable in their life. You be stable. Have the environment as stable as you can. That brings healthy emotions for children. The third one is having behavioral rules within your home. And I have charts and everything, but if you have 5 distinct behaviors, put it on the refrigerator. Make a list out and put it on the refrigerator. These are the 5 behaviors that we have in our home. If you do not mind the rules of your behaviors, if you hit your brother and sister, that could be one of the rules. No hitting. If you talk back to your parents, no talking back to parents, that can be a rule. If you break a rule, then there's a consequence. It's good to have a consequence, age appropriate to each rule broken. For instance, if a child talks back and he's 7 years old and he talks back to the mom and dad, okay, the rule on the refrigerator says no talking back to mom or dad. What's the consequence for that? That's 1 minute times your age in the timeout chair or in the corner. Or if you're out shopping, set them on the ground and say, okay, you sit there for 7 minutes if you're 7 years old. And then when you're done, you're going to apologize. Have them apologize. Let them feel responsible for their own behavior. It's very important to teach children responsibility. And it's also important to sit and talk with them. When you talk back, how does that make you look to others? How does it make your mom and dad feel? How do you feel when you're disobeying? Let them become aware of their feelings and aware of their emotions. Teaching your children is so important. And every day there's a teaching experience. Don't be mean and scream at them. Talk to them like little people. I always tell my children, hey, if they made a mistake and it was over with, or they made a mistake at school, or they got in a fight with their friend, I would say, you know what childhood is about? It's all about learning lessons. You're not perfect. I don't expect you to be perfect, but let's just learn. Let's learn from our lessons. Tell yourself it's okay to make a mistake. I'm a kid. My parents make mistakes and they're grown and they've been on this earth a lot longer than me. So give them permission to make a mistake, but yet learn from it and correct it. Next time, instead of screaming at your mom and dad, what can you do? You know, ask them questions and problem solve with them. That's creating healthy children. Don't scream and be mean and demean them. Uplift them, teach them, and be compassionate and loving towards them. Childhood is so very important to all of us because it creates us a foundation for our adult life. If our foundation is cracked and marred, it's harder when you're an adult because you don't have that firm foundation. Another rule is that kids need to be loved. They need to know there's a safe place in this world. When they're having a hard time at school, they don't need to come home to a mom that's screaming at them for making a C or a D. They need to come home, give me a hug. Now let's work on this. Let's work on it. You know, mommy will sit here with you in your math problems and we will go over this until you learn it. Or maybe we need to go get you some tutoring. You know, love is so important. Make sure you hug your children. Make sure you tell them you love them. Make sure you look at their eyes and say, I love you. You are special. Praise your children for whatever they're doing right. Praise them. Don't be the critical parent that demeans and criticizes them. Praise them for what they're doing right. And then help them with behaviors that they're having problems with. Praise, praise, praise. Love, love, love. So important. The last rule are chores. And you're saying, well, how are chores a rule? Well, I guess it's not the last rule, but it's the last point. Chores are so very important for children to have. From ground up, my children had chores. I made it age appropriate. When I was growing up, I had chores. My parents made it age appropriate. I remember my first chore when I was like 5, or not the first chore, but when I remember one of my major chores in grade school was I had to unload the silverware from the dishwasher. And then I got a little bit older. My chores every Saturday morning were to dust the house and to clean the bathrooms. I'm sure my mom had to come up and help, do some things after me, but then a lot of times after we did our chores in the Saturday morning chores, we would go get lunch. She was going to take us to lunch anyway, but it seemed like a reward. You all did so good. Thank you so much. It's also important every day that the children have 2 or 3 little chores that they can do. You don't want it to be an adult chore. You want it to be an age appropriate chore. Go take the trash out, or, go unload the dishwasher. Or if they're young, come help mommy dust. A lot of people just send their kids and expect them to clean. Go with them when they're young and teach them. Go in their room and help them clean and teach them how to clean. Simplify their room, take so much junk out so they don't get lost in it, and organize it. But chores are important for children because they learn to be responsible. You want your children to be responsible. Your chore as a parent is to create adults someday that go to work, have a family, are responsible, are respectable, and have good coping skills so they can cope in life in an effective manner. Well, those are just 5 tips. And there's my phone, so I better go. Thank you.